Imagine a people returned from exile, their city a landscape of ruins. Their hearts heavy with a single question: has God forgotten us? The temple, a mere shadow of its former glory, was just beginning to rise from the rubble. The walls of Jerusalem were weak, a fragile defense for a fragile hope. In this moment of uncertainty, when the past was a memory of judgment and the future was a frightening unknown, God raised up a young prophet named Zechariah. He wasn't sent to deliver fire and brimstone, but to be a gentle whisper of hope to tired souls. One night, the veil between heaven and earth was pulled back for Zechariah. He was shown a series of 8 visions, each one a cryptic and powerful message from God. He saw a mysterious man on a red horse standing among myrtle trees in a ravine, a divine messenger reporting on the state of the earth. He saw 4 horns representing the powerful nations that had scattered Judah, and then 4 craftsmen sent to terrify and throw down those very horns. The message was clear. God's judgment on his people's enemies was coming. Then a man appeared with a measuring line, ready to map out a new Jerusalem. But an angel stopped him. Jerusalem would not be a city confined by walls, for God himself would be a wall of fire around her, and the glory within her. This wasn't just about rebuilding a physical city. It was about God dwelling with his people in an unprecedented way. He called out to those still in exile, "Escape, you who live with the daughter of Babylon. For whoever touches you touches the apple of my eye." This was a promise of divine protection, a declaration of intimate value. The visions then turned to the spiritual heart of the nation. Zechariah saw Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, with Satan at his right hand to accuse him. Joshua was dressed in filthy clothes, a symbol of the people's sin and impurity. But the Lord rebuked Satan, declaring, "Is not this man a burning stick snatched from the fire?" Then the filthy clothes were removed, and Joshua was given rich, clean robes and a pure turban. An angel declared that his sin was taken away. This was a powerful picture of grace, of God cleansing the leadership and the nation, not because they deserved it, but because of his mercy. Next, Zechariah saw a solid gold lampstand with a bowl on top and 7 lamps on it, flanked by 2 olive trees. The lamps were constantly supplied with oil directly from the trees, needing no human effort to keep them lit. An angel explained the meaning, "Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord Almighty." The rebuilding of the temple and the restoration of the nation would not be accomplished through human strength or political maneuvering, but through the endless, self-sustaining power of God's Spirit. The 2 olive trees represented the 2 anointed leaders, the governor Zerubbabel and the high priest Joshua, who were channels for God's grace. The visions grew darker, showing the reality of sin and judgment. A giant flying scroll, the size of a temple porch, soared over the land, representing God's curse going out against thieves and those who swear falsely. It would enter their houses and consume them. Then he saw a woman representing wickedness being sealed inside a measuring basket and carried away to the land of Babylon. God was not just rebuilding, he was purifying. He was removing sin from their midst, promising a holy community. Finally, Zechariah saw 4 chariots with different colored horses emerging from between 2 bronze mountains. These were the 4 spirits of heaven sent by God to patrol the earth and carry out his will, bringing his judgment and establishing his peace. Through these strange and wonderful visions, God spoke a powerful message to a disheartened people. He hadn't forgotten them. He was returning with mercy. He would protect them, purify them, and empower them. The work they were doing, laying one stone upon another, was part of a divine plan far greater than they could imagine. But Zechariah's prophecy didn't stop there. It looked forward, beyond the immediate future, to the coming of the Messiah. He prophesied a king who would be radically different from the rulers of the world. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. This was a prophecy of a humble king, a king of peace who would proclaim peace to the nations. He also spoke of a shepherd who would be struck down. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. This was a startling and sorrowful prediction, pointing to the sacrifice that would one day be made. And yet, through this wounding, there would be ultimate restoration. The people would look upon the one they had pierced, and they would mourn for him as one mourns for an only son. This grief would lead to a fountain being opened to cleanse them from sin and impurity. The story of Zechariah teaches us a timeless truth. When our hope is small, when our city is in ruins, and our strength has failed, God sends vision. He reminds us that his plans are not limited by our circumstances. When we feel overwhelmed and powerless, he reminds us that it is not by our might, not by our power, but by his Spirit that true and lasting work is done. The small act of rebuilding a wall was part of God's grand story of redeeming the entire world. And our small acts of faithfulness today are part of that same story, a story that culminates in a humble king who brings eternal peace. Thank you for watching. If this story encouraged you, please like and subscribe for more.